holy city of Jerusalem symbolizes the ancient in one of the world's youngest nations, Jordan. The modern uniforms on her troops mark her progress, while the headgear emphasizes pride in a past that antedates the birth of Christ. Arabs of Mohammedan faith, the Jordanians control the biblical areas of Old Jerusalem. A wall separates it from the newer area in Israel. Gates that were old in the days of Christ guard the narrow, twisted streets, hallowed by all faiths. The great temples of Mohammedanism stand next to Christian churches. The Dome of the Rock draws pilgrims of all faiths. From minarets, the Mohammedan faithful are called to prayer, while Christians retrace the footsteps of Christ along the Via Dolorosa, the way he followed to his crucifixion. In the midst of sacred shrines, the markets operate as they did centuries ago. The sights and sounds, too, are changeless. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is built over the site of Christ's tomb and offers a haven of peace and quiet, as does the Garden of Gethsemane, where he spent his last hours before the crucifixion. These olive trees are 1,000 years old. 5 miles to the south lie the hills of Bethlehem, and beyond that, the arid desert that makes up most of Jordan's land area. But passable roads, mostly frequented by nomads, lead north toward the mountains of Lebanon and the valley of Bihar. Here are found some of the most imposing ruins ever discovered of a lost civilization. 6,000 years ago, this was a center of civilization, Baalbek, a wonder of the world. Today, tourists gasp at the grandeur of the crumbling monuments. The true history of the city is shrouded in mystery, but it was conquered by the Romans before the birth of Christ. Through the centuries, Baalbek was besieged by Turks, Arabs, Crusaders, and the Mongols. Innumerable earthquakes added to the devastation that finally spelled its doom. But majestic pillars still flank the Temple of Jupiter. Pillars erected 6 centuries before Christ, 62 feet high and of 2 joined blocks. Engineers today are still mystified as to how the ancients accomplished the task. A beauty whose ancestors may have had a hand in the creation of this wonder typifies the peoples who inhabit the ancient land today, many of whom live as they did centuries ago, wandering from place to place in a nomadic life. Many farms today are worked as they were ages ago. The worn-out land is scratched at with primitive tools to bring forth an uncertain crop. In startling contrast to the impoverished farmer are the pipelines that run across his pitiful farm, carrying fabulous riches to the coast. Over bridges built by the Romans, the pipeline snakes its way to the Mediterranean Sea and the port of Sidon, where Lebanon's refineries turn the black gold into products for a fuel-hungry world. Here again is the constant paradox that is the Middle East. An antiquated donkey cart delivers a modern fuel. From Sidon, a modern coastal road weaves north to the capital, Beirut, center of all that is modern in Lebanon. The road runs through the fertile coastal plain, lush in rich crops, in contrast with the poor farms of the interior. Here there are prolific orange and lemon groves that can supply a large part of the world demand. Beirut is the site of an international air terminal, where planes from many lands wing their way to exotic Middle Eastern cities. The very atmosphere of the airport, with passengers from all parts of the world, suggests romance and adventure. The terminal is a crossroads where literally east meets west. Beirut is rapidly becoming the most modern of Middle East cities. New apartment houses crowding out the shacks of squatters who have lived on this land for generations. Kids build dream castles in Beirut as they do elsewhere. Progress is driving the traditional goat herds farther and farther from the city. As the mushrooming city expands, the old sights and smells are vanishing. The windshield reflects a growing economy that industrialization has rocked. But what progress is this? No longer does the muezzin call the faithful to prayer. His place in the minarets has been taken by tape recorders. And here progress compromises Western dress but traditional veil. Two youngsters who have been pledged by their parents to a Christian monastery. For strangely enough, Lebanon is half Muslim and half Christian. The population is made up of many races: Arabs, Gypsies, and Syrians. A study of these types presents some fascinating mysteries, such as where did the blonde hair originate? Like most Middle East countries, Lebanon is a nation of extremes. Scarcely a short walk from where a farmer tills arid acres, there are first-rate hotels with swimming pools for the enjoyment of visitors, and exotic Eastern foods that surprise and please the most finicky gourmet. The taped voice calling the faithful to final prayers hardly dies before Beirut springs alive with its famous nightlife. As in all cities catering to the traveler, there are tourist attractions that compete with authentic native cafes. You read the neon signs and you take your choice. Noisy and unrestrained, Beirut's nightlife is a gay final chapter to a visit to Jordan and Lebanon, two countries that loom large in the future of the Middle East.